Okay, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm up. All right, I call this meeting of the Community Relations Subcommittee to order. Present are myself, Councillor Bill Solms, and Councillor Mary McGrattan, and Roxanne Mayer. Citizen comments. Seeing none, moving on. Informational items. I don't know of any. Moving on to item 5, review and approval of prior meeting minutes. I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of September 2nd, 2020.
Second.
Any comments, questions, concerns, corrections? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Item 6 under old business, to continue discussion and possible action to draft a Community Relations Committee mission statement. So just a quick update. First of all, for the record, Councillor Washington had a personal emergency and could not be here tonight. Without his contribution, I don't think it's necessarily something we want to do to move on with the mission statement.
Great.
I think we're also at a place where we realize slowing down would be the better part of wisdom, because there's some really, I think there's some insight that we need to gather from the community at large, and that's just going to take some time and relationship and thoughtful conversations that cannot be rushed. So at this point, I know I am going to be, I know Councillor Solms is going to be, I believe my Councillor Washington will be reaching out to people we know in the community, people we have relationship with, or at least have access to start asking the question about what it will look like over time. If this committee is successful, what would success look like for this committee? So we need feedback. Councillor Solms, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I have been in touch with 3 people about setting up a meeting. They're agreeable to having individual meetings with each of the 3 of us. I have been doing that with a number of people well before this committee was stood up, going all the way back to March. I intend to ask the people that I've been talking to and will be talking to help us with this mission statement, because I think our intentions are good, but as you say, Andra, I think we need input and I think we need help. So I'm going to move forward with those meetings, and I think that's it. That's where I think we should be going. I agree with you. We should not write a mission statement in a vacuum, especially given what this committee was stood up to do. So right. I plan to continue that work, and I agree also that we shouldn't try to struggle with mission statement without our chair here.
Right, agreed. Okay, so then on to item 2, which is continue to review and discuss objectives and goals, which I don't think we're really prepared to do that, except to say that I do believe at least one objective, one goal would be to create some sort of a public forum with our law enforcement to educate the community and provide a platform for community members to ask questions and express concerns. In my opinion, that could happen sooner rather than later, but again, I don't want to do anything without our chair.
Yeah. I think it would be a lot easier for us to proceed on our own on this front too, to reach out to the chief, to reach out to other departments on our own and talk with them. Again, I've been doing that with the chief of the police department, Haven't talked to them in quite a while, but I started doing that back in June, I think. So I think we should keep doing that too.
Okay.
It's just easier because, you know, scheduling a meeting and then having an agenda and having everybody here is just cumbersome. I haven't figured out how to do it any other way.
Agree. And we just, it's just challenging because,
Yeah.
you know, the protocol of meetings is there to actually, believe it or not, facilitate conversation. And yet sometimes it really hinders it. You know, it's to make sure everybody understands who has the floor. What are we talking about right now? And yet it doesn't allow for a lot of give and take. And so we need a different environment to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could expand on that a bit, I think in our current environment with social media, it becomes even harder because you have a public meeting, it's online, anyone can join, and that's great. And we've seen a lot more participation in public meetings. But then people go off from the public meeting and comment on social media, which makes other people who participate in those meetings less likely to say anything. And I think that's a huge hindrance. And that's what I'm saying. I really want to have one-on-one conversations to gather information from people, inform ourselves, come back and report at these meetings what we've learned. I think that's more effective. That said, I do think we should still have a community workshop without an agenda. We've talked about doing that in early October. If our next meeting included an invitation to the public for anyone to come and speak if they choose, and I would understand if no one spoke, if no one attended because of what I just said about social media and you know, that public spotlight. But I do think we should try, because if there are people who are willing to come and talk with us, we should provide that forum. I think you made the comment, Councilor Ingalls, that, you know, why would people be shy? Anyone who's willing to speak at a protest, you would think would be willing to speak in public at a public meeting. So I do think we should leave that door open and just invite anyone and everyone who wants to come and be heard.
Sure. So then you mentioned doing that as a community workshop, but not really having an agenda. Yep. I'm not sure how that would work, and what would the difference be between any regular meeting of this subcommittee where there is, you know, citizen comment is always an option, versus having just an open forum with no stated topic. That actually seems a little daunting to me. It's almost like if we cast the net too wide, you get nothing.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Back, I guess about a year ago, when the senior citizens were really, you know, there was a lot of turmoil down there. And they wanted to have the housing authority wanted to have a meeting, just not even a meeting, just the way you described, not necessarily taking notes, but just allowing this back and forth discussion. So I did discuss it with Linda, and she said that's possible. And I forgot how, you know, you advertise it as a meeting, but you don't necessarily have to take minutes, or you just put some general paragraph as to what transpired. But you can do those things, you know, as a committee. But you can check with Linda as to what the protocol is.
We've done stuff like that in the past, and we've called them informational sessions, like when we wanted to explain to the public a particular project that we were working on, and it wasn't really a public hearing. It was more of an informational forum. So you could do something like like that, like a exchange of information or something like that. And then you wouldn't really have to have set minutes.
We did that for the town center committee back in 2007.
Oh, okay.
You know, the committee was stood up and we said, you know, here's what we're supposed to do. And we wanted to gather input from the community, so we asked people to come. We held it in public at the Ledyard Center School auditorium or gym. And I remember to this day, now Mayor Allen saying, whatever you guys do, please don't produce a report and put it on the shelf. Do something with the report. And that stuck with the community, and look at Ledyard Center now. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you get out of unrestrained dialogue, just, you know, whatever you call it. It's no agenda. It's just, please come tell us what you want us to hear. And to answer your question, why would people come to that? And if they don't come to these meetings, if I put myself in their shoes, we've had one resident coming to our meetings, and they basically get to speak at the beginning of the meeting, and then they sit there and listen for the rest of it. I think if people knew there would be more people speaking, then they would be encouraged to attend and speak and be heard. That would be my answer to that.
Okay.
It has worked in the past.
So do we want to propose a date for that, or just wait till we meet again and Mike is part of this? What do you think?
Look at the calendar. I thought we said we were going to try and do this on October 7th. We could ask Mike when he gets back. Let's see, our next meeting is October, come on. Yeah, October 7th. So there's time to publish and advertise.
Okay, so we can. So that would be that. So then the next regular meeting of this subcommittee. Oh wait, no, they're all special meetings, aren't they? They're not. They're regular meetings. Okay, so the next regular meeting of this committee would actually end up being an informational session.
Yep.
Is that what we're proposing?
And we could say that you and I proposed it, and we'll wait for Mike to come back and make a decision. He can tell Roxanne what he wants to do. He's
Okay.
the chair.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Anything further on that? We're sort of on items 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right. So then on to item 4 under old business. Any other old business to come before the committee? There is none.
Nope.
So on to new business. I think my agenda is backwards. So discussion regarding drafting a memorandum of understanding between the town of Ledyard and the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation regarding the assistance program. We are trying to schedule a meeting with their community relations committee. They call it something different. Their social services committee.
Mm-hmm.
I think they call it diversity. I think it's their diversity committee or something to that effect.
I'm trying to open the item. Okay. So the purpose of this MOU is to put in writing where residents can expect to receive services if they should need them from the food pantry, or if they want to participate and they're eligible to participate in some of the social service offerings. And if they are a tribal member, depending on where their residency is, who they would go to for help. So that it puts it in writing so there's understanding on the part of the town and on the part of the tribe, and residents can be given clear instruction. So I expect that's something we'll discuss with the tribes committee when we meet with them.
And they came back to, we went to them with some dates that they asked for in late September, and they then, you know, a little time passed and they couldn't meet those dates, so they asked for October dates. So,
Okay.
So I have not responded to that, but I've got to get my availability out there for October.
Right, likewise. Okay, but I do think that will be another piece of this that will be very helpful to just have it clear and in writing. I go back to 5 or more years ago when I was on the Social Services Advisory Board. The instruction, then this goes back to when John Rodolico was mayor. The instruction I remember hearing was that the tribe wanted to serve their own. And so, but it sounds like that needs to be far more clear about, and so I saw in the draft language about whether a resident is actually living on the reservation versus not. And so again, it'll be really helpful to everybody, I think, to just have it all in writing so there's no misunderstanding.
Yep.
Okay, so you and I, Bill, need to respond to that email and get our October availability out, and we'll set that meeting up.
I think we do. We did last time, get our availability to Mike, and then he responds with all 3 of us.
Okay, very good. So did you want to discuss anything further on that draft MOU?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. If there's no other new business, then I think we can adjourn.
All righty. Thank you.
This meeting is adjourned.
Good night.
Thank you, Andrea. Thanks, Mary.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Rox. Good night, Bill. Good night, Mary.